Welcome to another episode of the Build Up Podcast. Today I'm with Daniel and Teosi. They are no visitors on this show. They are here because we want to talk about something very important to the growth of our football, Nigerian football. We've seen a lot of things happening, qualification for the World Cup, the Falcons, a lot of that, and we have to address some of these issues. Welcome, Teosi, to the
Yeah,
Build Up
it's a
Podcast.
pleasure. It's an honor to be
Yeah.
here.
And welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Well, the African under 20. We'll start with the under 20. The African under 20 World Cup. Sorry, African under 20 tournament,
Yeah,
not the World
AFCON,
Cup. Yeah, AFCON. It just finished, and South Africa obviously won the trophy. Our own Flying Eagles, they took third. Not only taking third, they qualified for the World Cup. But it's a good news for Nigeria, no doubt.
Mhm.
But I still feel that, personally, I think that team has a lot of work to do. A lot of work, I mean, is we cannot take that kind of performance to the World Cup
Well-
because we'll come back
Well,
without achieving anything.
I understand your point of view. However, it's a youth tournament, and based on the fact that in tournaments, even generally, teams grow into tournaments. You don't just start like a team on fire. Okay,
Yeah.
it happens that some teams they get it right from the beginning, but against we played our first game 1-0. That should be against Tunisia. We did not, of course, play well to score enough. But our problem all through the tournament was goal scoring. We had
and we had a good striker.
we had a very good striker.
We had a
like
good
the
striker.
best youth striker in Nigeria.
Yes.
And even in Africa, if you're going to look at it from that aspect. But
Undoubtedly.
it was just unfortunate that he could not catch fire like he used to catch at the local scene. And I don't know, his first international tournament when it comes to national team.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I would say the team was not perfect, but they had they have places where they need to, improve going to the World Cup. But overall, I could, of course, maybe score them a 7/10.
What do you think about the Flying Eagles in that tournament?
I'm not sure about 7/10, first of all, because I feel like the Flying Eagles, although I get that there's something you said about youth football, that for me the objective is not always to win.
Yeah.
It's to how these talents progress, because that's something we struggle with in
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Progress.
From under 17 to under 20, we are the country that's won, for example, the under 17 the most.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate to the national team, right? And
Which is funny because we did not even qualify for the under 17
exactly.
World Cup.
tournament.
Yeah, so there is an issue with CAF. I don't understand how much you would say the third best team in West Africa, Zone B, cannot qualify for AFCON. Why are you telling us that? And while they have increased the number of teams participating, so they basically picked the teams that would join the AFCON. So it is. I don't want to say it's an agenda against Nigeria, or let me say agenda against West Africa. If you look at it, most of this, I think Mali do well at the under 17 World
Yeah.
Cup, and then Ghana they do well at the under 20, under 17 World Cup. Same with Nigeria. So how many times have you seen a South African team? When I say South African team, I'm not saying South Africa. Like, I mean their region. They call themselves COSAFA. Yes.
COSAFA, that's what
And
they
then
call
there's in COSAFA, or the one from
Central
Africa,
Sekafa.
the Cameroon he likes, or maybe even in North. How many times? Most of the youth tournament you see West Africa. But since they started this, even women's football, since they started this zonal thing, eliminating each other, Nigeria at a point eliminated Ghana in the
Yeah.
women's
Yeah.
AFCON qualifiers. And you could not see Ghana there. So it is the zonal thing that has made our own under 17, not qualify for this AFCON. So let's just lose on that.
Okay, so I get that, because I think even with like the last World Cup, the qualification process that CAF used
was tough.
kind of eliminated like strong, like Senegal faced
Yeah.
Egypt in the last round, So we can talk about that, but I think for now, let me go back to the AFCON under 20. That tournament, like I said, I know that youth team tournaments, the objective is not always to win, because we have already won, especially with the under 17. We found so much success, and it has not translated. So maybe we should go a little bit away from winning and focus on
Development.
the long-term
Well,
plan.
that's what's been happening now, to be honest, because we've not really actually won a trophy in a
Okay,
while.
so I'm going to go there now, right? Because and this is something that I think a lot of people believe. I've seen a lot of people talk about how the style of play and the coaching of those youth teams is a very big problem. Like if you go to academies and if you go to youth age grade competitions, what you'll be hearing the coach saying is, "Oh, if you miss man, no miss leg. Do this one, do that one."
Bude.
Like there's no
Come on, the
technical coaching. It
Yes.
is very, very physical, hoofball, defender, bude, out, all those, like just pace and power, basically.
No.
and physicality.
No,
Exactly.
In as
So-
much as I want to agree with you, I
Okay.
have you can land, but I have an observation when you're done.
So that's like, I think a lot of us have that experience and we see it. I'm not saying it's a universal thing, but even when you're watching, so when you're watching these youth tournaments, right, the stadiums are usually empty. So it means you can hear the coaches, you can hear what they're saying. You know that what they're saying is is like similar to what you
What
hear.
you always hear.
So there's some truth. Maybe not a lot, but there's some truth in people saying that these youth teams, the way they are coached, is just focused on pace, power, get the ball away from defense, get it to the striker. How you get to the striker, I don't care, but just get to the striker, and we of course must always have one big, strong, fast black man stereotype striker that will get us the goals. But sadly, even in the under 20, we barely got any goals. So I think what we need to do is look at how the youth teams are being coached. Of course, I am not very, very, I think I've seen in my lifetime, I've seen enough of our youth teams win the tournaments, the AFCONs, the World Cup. So I'm not really obsessed with winning those youth tournaments. If anything, I want the senior teams to win now because youth teams winning don't really mean much to me.
Of
again.
course, yeah.
So what I want to see now is
Transition.
the transition and a different type of coaching in our youth team system. That's all for me about the under 20 AFCON.
this thing is said about coaches shouting. I've been privileged to play in academies before, and I hear this shout. In football, I feel there are terminologies used by different people.
Coaches.
Like in Germany now, there are some terms that they use to each other.
Of course, eh?
I've played matches where in academies where we played against people from other states.
Yeah.
It was in the east, in Enugu. Now, if we are playing against maybe people from Lagos or people from the southwest, there are some words they use just for communication within
course, yeah.
themselves. So same thing too with us. So
Like
that's
local
why,
lingo.
Yeah. So that's why when you hear this bude, come on there, miss, like I feel that despite the fact that yes, I know that there's lack of technical this thing. But why we hear these terms is because we are used to them.
That's okay.
But we know what it means.
Yeah, see, okay,
It's
so
not like we are
in-
misconstruing
you know,
the
you
word.
were
Bude
you were
literally
saying-
means get the ball out of. Don't pass at the back.
True.
you were
The
saying-
average Nigerian coach does not want to see a ball playing goalkeeper.
No,
I think we are
no. Okay.
not now we're talking about youth
Modern
team,
day.
not team, maybe coaches that are coaching maybe teams in the MPFL. We're talking about youth teams, like teams that don't really have a structure yet.
Yes.
But these guys are actually passed from the back.
So
This
to be,
under-
if
No, you have to, but I
you
mean
were
like
saying something
to a
earlier.
level where it affects your build up. Of course, you have to pass from the back,
Yeah.
but to a level where it affects your build up play. A lot of Nigerian coaches do not want to see, especially the Nigerian coaches coaching our youth teams.
No.
They are much more result.
No. I disagree with you.
Okay.
I have points noted. Yeah. First, you're talking about how much our academies are not, are more of power, pace, and of course, get a score. It's a lie. Why? You might be right saying we don't have so much of organized academies. Yes, I agreed. Somebody who did not even have NIS coaching license would tell you, now me be coach for this area.
Because he's the
Come
one
bring-
who started.
You
the
understand?
team.
Now me be coach for this
So he
area.
automatically becomes coach
Yeah,
and
team,
agent
bring
and
your
everything
picking, all this kind.
altogether.
You understand? Last week, what's this man's name? Idea was basically tweeting a lot of things about saying because he's giving you money for boots,
Doesn't
he's
mean
training you
he's
does
your
not mean he's your
agent,
agent.
yeah.
Though. So we have so many unorganized for academies. You say like Mori Academy. Why?
Yeah.
Because you are playing on a sandy pitch, and then you say, okay,
But
well,
they are not even necessarily academies.
they're
It's just
not
a group of
academy.
people
They're
playing
just they play
together.
together. You understand?
Yes.
But we have structured academies. Remember, Mikel Obi graduated from Pepsi Academy.
Yeah.
True.
But then we also, he was a product of
Yeah.
Pepsi. Now in the 21st century,
There's Beyond Limits,
yes.
which is
Now,
very structured.
before Beyond Limits, Bruges FC
Mm-hmm.
has produced a lot. FC Ebedi.
Yeah.
Before Beyond Limits started producing, FC Ebedi, they've produced Onuachu, they've produced Frank Onyeka, they've produced Rafael Onyedika, and some other names. So I think it is the fact that most of these people that we are open to, that we know, are the ones we think are the ones selecting our players. See, I understand that African football might be more of strength, but in recent times, how many times have you seen the Super Eagles play strength football? No.
What do we even
Okay. Oh no. Wait. Now, see. You know, I want to explain in a way that you understand my perspective. Our teams have not played football of I saw why, because we are moving away from the aspect of people playing gidigbo. Yes, we are playing we are trying more of playing from the back. If our pitches are good enough, if we get good pitches, you will see Nigeria playing very well. Before Nwabali moved out of MBFL, would you have known that I was a ball playing goalkeeper?
Is he really a ball playing goalkeeper?
Is he?
Is he?
Wait.
No, he's a good shot stopper.
No.
And a good penalty
No,
saver.
yeah, so
I don't see the ball playing.
Nwabali
I
knows
don't
how.
see
Wait,
it.
no. See, when it comes to serving on like close proximity, you might not maybe see. When it comes to the long balls, spraying the balls.
that's the normal.
No.
Ball play.
Some
What do you
goalkeepers
think a ball
who
playing
see
Ball
no
playing goalkeeper
Wait.
is a combination of that long
Yes,
ball.
long ball and the
and
shot.
shot.
Yes, he
And me, I don't see.
he does shot.
I don't
shot.
see.
Well, he does shot. To be honest, he does it.
He's a good shot
It-
stopper.
no, he
There are
does
people
both.
Let's
that do
leave
that.
Nwabali.
Okay,
Let's
so
leave
so
Nwabali.
basically, if you look at our national team now, you would see the last. If you watch Nduka by this under 17,
Yeah.
they failed to defeat. I think it was Morocco they played, or one other team they played in the AFCON under 17 quarterfinals.
Yeah.
They were the best team in the tournament. There was a time Eguavon took us to AFCON 2021.
Yeah,
We were the best team in
we
the
were the
tournament.
best team.
But one simple error knocks you out in the knockout stage, and then you don't qualify for the World Cup, or you don't qualify for the next round.
Yeah.
So I would this under 20 that we just finished playing. They did not exactly come into the tournament with fire. They grew into the tournament. Same way they did at Wafu B under 20. So I think our focus should shift away from. I know we want to win. Yes, our focus should shift
I am
towards
not-
development. And then you were saying that,
I'm not very, very obsessed
and
with
then, and
winning
of course you were talking
when it
about
comes
the
to
third one.
youth.
You're talking about transition. I can give you at least 5 players in this current Super Eagles who transitioned from under 17,
Of course,
under
there
20.
are examples.
So there are,
but for every one of those examples,
there are so
there's
many failures. Of course, and everybody cannot be successful.
Everybody cannot be, but at least those ones that don't make it to the Super Eagles should have a level of standing. Like it should not be that if you don't make it to the Super Eagles, your career is over. That's the case for
Do you
many
know how
people.
wait? Do you know how many?
There's so many people that have
there
played
is-
that. Do you know? Sorry. Do any of you guys know Stanley Okoro from
Yes.
the under
Of
17?
course, we know.
Do you know where he's playing now?
Okay,
Stanley Okoro, they used to call him Little Messi in the under 17 World Cup we hosted in 2009 because he was arguably the best player in that tournament. Do you know where he's playing?
okay.
now?
So listen.
That's the best of
There
the
is-
best.
Okay, listen to
And he can't.
if you listen to pro footballers, they will tell you that so many of their friends that they started football
they were
together,
better than them.
they were better than them. They did not eventually make it pro. Like even some of them that made it pro, they dropped out afterwards.
True.
There's a statistics in the UK that at least only 4%
Of
of
youth team.
youth team players
make it pro.
pro.
I think it's
And I'm
lower-
not-
it's less than 4%
yeah, and I'm
actually.
I'm not saying Premier League. Like some of them that even play League 4 or anything. So it is just a thing of
my issue
not everybody
here
will be
is
successful.
Not, is not player transition. My issue here is team transition, and I'll give different examples. I'll start from Europe. The German team, one of the strengths of the senior team of Germany in years past is that transition. Schweinsteiger, Toni Kroos, they almost played in the same age, not the same age group, but you see that under 20, let's say Schweinsteiger was in under 20, Toni Kroos was under 17. Like they are
You're talking about
developing-
direct replacement.
not even direct replacement. The players are not only transitioning.
The coach.
The coaches, they have this connection where we can see it in clubs too, where they play almost the same style.
I think I get your
Right
point
from
now.
right from time, you're going to be hearing the Germany team plays as a team, not as an individual. Go to Spain, the same
That's
thing.
the example I
Now,
wanted to give you. De
go,
La
go to
Fuente
go to Spain.
that
Was
won the
under
Euros with
21.
Spain last year.
Thank you.
Coached the
Under
under
20,
15,
yeah.
De La Fuente is
17,
even
19, and
recent.
won the Euros with each of those
Lopetegui.
teams.
You cannot.
Lopetegui too was the same thing. He grew from the ranks. Now let's come to Morocco. Let's come down to Africa. Morocco. Can you see the transition? The transition is even down to the federation. The federation has something similar to this thing France has.
And that pack that they.
Clairefontaine.
Yes, we are making one in
true.
Nigeria now,
Where
in Abuja.
Hopefully we'll
everyone is
finish
there.
it.
No, we're going to
Fingers
finish it.
crossed.
We're going to finish it. I
So-
assure you, man.
Morocco now has that. This as of last
Morocco
year,
has also
Morocco was like the most successful team in Africa. They were like winning
everything. They won that.
They were the most, not even like
They won that 23
Let me
and
tell
AFCON.
two other countries.
Senegal.
The same thing.
Mhm.
Now, most recently, South Africa had a footballing issue 2 years ago where they were not qualify. I think for AFCON.
No. So the thing is, they were having
They
issues.
don't qualify for
No,
World Cup,
they
right?
didn't qualify for
World
World Cup.
Yes.
But they were performing well. And at AFCON, we were the one who
yes.
we removed them
Now,
at AFCON. We disqualified.
what did they do? Can you see what they are doing? They are transitioning, not the players, but each of their teams are now playing like, oh, this guy is coming, this guy is coming, this guy is coming.
I think what you're
Now-
trying to talk is identity.
Yes. We lack that identity. The only player I can say, that they've been able to bring consistently from under 17, from under 17 to the senior team is Iheanacho. And why?
Osimhen too.
No?
Osimhen, no.
John Mikel Obi.
No, I said as of recent.
As of recent.
As
Osimhen
of
is more
recent.
recent
Osimhen
than
came.
Iheanacho.
Then Igalo, he was understudy to
Igalo.
Igalo, which was very good. Now, why I mentioned Iheanacho is Iheanacho is one of the rarest profiles
In
of a
Nigerian
footballer.
Mm.
He's so rare,
Mhm.
and he's so rare that it is so obvious that you can't keep that kind of player out.
Really?
Yes.
With the form where he gets now?
No,
And it's
I'm
not
I'm
longer
not
about his
talking
current
about
form,
his
just
form.
like
I'm saying the
as
The development.
at the time,
No.
Development, yes.
He was one of the best youth players
Yes.
we've ever had.
So we are trying to create an identity for ourselves. I was like, that Iheanacho said, if we could capitalize on it. The right back then, Musa
Yaya.
Mohammed. or
Mohammed,
something.
yeah?
Yes, the right back that was the captain then. I think then he was invited for
He was brought to Super Eagles, yeah?
Yes, that was too fast.
No,
That
you know,
team-
they played on that 21st together.
True, yes. All of them played on Tuesday. I think
Awoni was to success.
Isaac Success,
Ndidi.
Ndidi,
Yes.
all of them. If that team had an identity and they had come up, Alan Pasu was a very good
Okay, so
goalkeeper.
I have something to say.
We are having goalkeeper issues,
No.
but we had one of the best
No.
goalkeepers in an
No,
under
no, no, no.
17
See,
World Cup.
Okay, listen, see.
Like, it's not making
No,
sense.
okay, see, you know how if they give me a platform,
Okay.
the ability, my own, the thing I turn out to be has to be my own. It has to do with my own work. Okay, Alan Pasu, after that, under 17, he was taken to Chan in 2014
Yeah.
by Stephen Keshi as the third George goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Experience, you're seeing how top pros do it.
Which was a good one.
Yes, before you know it, Alan Pasu went to Portugal, City Firenze, the
Yeah.
club owned by this man, Remo Stars
Yeah.
owner. In the Portuguese League, since then, Alan Pasu's career has nosedived. Why? This man did not get a good career by himself. See, we would not use national team to revive your career. We would not use national team to build a career for you. If we use the youth national team to build a career for you, we will not use the senior national team to build a career for you. If you cannot position yourself with what you have at your club level, you know the problem we have in Nigeria now, that some of our players are not consistent to the extent that you say, because performance under 20 is going to be coming to Super Eagles. Some players after the under 20 tournament, they don't perform anymore. I understand that at this under 20 AFCON now, only one or how many players of Morocco are playing in the local league. But most of our players were playing in the local league. But the only thing that aided Morocco in poaching their talent abroad is because they used to do all this campaign abroad. Like they do campaign for local, they do campaign abroad. But we don't do campaign abroad. So all what we get has to be local. A player can be on form for under 20 or under 17. As it says, fantastic for under 17, fantastic for under 20. At the point in under 23 was, quite shaky. But his career nosedived. You cannot use national team to... Okay, look at... Even when you were talking about quality, Boniface's set was one that produced... what's the name of this guy? Tolu Arokorodare was one that produced Chidera Juki and all of them. That was the set. And they did not qualify for under 17 AFCON. But the quality is there. If we were so focused on winning, yes, we might have not gotten this talent out. That is it. And our youth teams, it is not, most of the times now, it is not the best legs that are playing. Why? And some of the best legs don't even play in the MPFA. I mean the youth teams, because some of them are in academy setup. It is now that with the help of Remo Stars, that was seeing young boys playing the MPFA very well. Now with the help of Sporting Lagos, we are seeing young boys playing the MPFA and NNL. Odinaka made his, that's the left back of under 20, made his debut last season in the MPFL. And Ikorosity, they are not a big club, they are not so big in terms of finance of Enyimba Rangers. So what they do, sometimes they go meet this academy, like Imperial, pick their players, loan them for one season. So we are seeing young boys play in the MPFL.
Sorry to cut you short. See why I said I have an issue with transition. The under 20 World, the under 20. Why am I always calling the World Cup?
Because we of course qualified.
Just finished. The best players in this team. The best players in the tournament were mostly Morocco guys, and they did not win the tournament.
Who said most of them?
Have you seen the 11?
Of course, they will do the 11 like that.
No, of course the 11, and also the best players from what we watched, they are the Moroccan guys. They lost.
I agree.
So are you saying the
Morocco played the best football?
Yes, they lost, no doubt.
We didn't play.
Of course, we didn't play.
Even South Africa that won.
No, South Africa didn't play. See, that's why I'm so annoyed that why did we lose South Africa?
No, what I'm saying here is Morocco did not win, but you could see.
Yeah, of course.
Now, we are not only seeing it.
We did not win, and we can't see what.
No. I beg to differ. We know
that
the talent is there.
I'm not saying the talent is not there. I'm saying we did not win
against Morocco.
And we don't know the style, the identity of this under 20 team.
See, they grew into the tournament. When we played Morocco in the second game, we bossed Morocco, but we could not score. That's the unfortunate thing. Then the game against South Africa,
because I watched that game.
I
don't think we bossed them.
See, we did boss them. They just had more clear-cut chances against us. Yeah,
if they had
against South Africa,
we bossed them.
No, of course you can boss a team, and then they have
clear cuts.
This is my.
We don't have as much clear-cut chances as them, or even more.
We controlled the
game, and
you
say we bossed them. See, I don't agree.
Controlling the game shows your technical superiority.
My point is not one match. My point is simple. We both know that transitioning into the senior team, Morocco will do it.
It's seamless. It's very seamless for Morocco.
They don't have so much. They don't have.
Do you know?
See, their talent pool determines.
Graduated from that place, that academy that they built.
Of course. In as much
and
as
so many other players that went to that World Cup.
Our talent pool, no.
One of my issues also is that. One of my issues also is that. One of my issues
our
also
talent
is
pool
that.
is very big. Hope you know.
The players that get to the Super Eagles from our youth teams are usually the best of the best. We don't have this system where there's a thing where a player might go for under 17 and under 20 and it's still very average because players peak at different points in their career. Not everybody will be a youth a prodigy.
All right, okay.
An Mbappe or a Yamal. Some people peak at 25. We don't have any provision for players that are not yet at their best, even after that.
That's
under
my
20,
point
under
of
17,
transitioning.
to still
to
still have this slight chance
Yes.
of doing what?
It's like if you go to under 17, under 20, and you don't shine there, it's the end for you.
No, it is not. It is not the job of the national team selectors to make sure that you have a very wonderful career.
I did not say it's the job. I'm saying
platform.
there is no.
What platform do you want? Is it true? What platform do you want?
If you
is it the role of the NFF?
If you play under 17 or under 20 for Germany,
okay,
and you're not the best team, you're not even the best, not even the tournament in that your team, you can be the worst, but you can look around and see the structure of football in your country and still be motivated that this is not my ceiling.
We never
because of the structure in that country.
Okay.
You cannot in Nigeria as a player, maybe you feel like you're objectively the worst player in that, maybe that under 20 squad, for example. You can start feeling like this is the end for me. And that's you being realistic because that might be the end for you.
See, that now deals with personal conviction. Because let's see, even some of the best legs that you might say from under 17, under 20, some of them they don't go outside of Nigeria. They finish their career in the MPFL.
Okay.
Yes. Listen.
But what of now the worst? If the best finish in the MPFL, where do the worst now finish?
Okay,
Don't you see that for the worst is now really much more bad for them?
I'm going to tackle that point about there. You're saying that we should create a platform. There's the league. First division, second division, third division, fourth. So
let's not even talk about this.
So listen. See. If
the league system is very...
You are calling the league that...
see.
That league is not top 10 leagues in Africa, or sure you know. It's not ranked top 10 in Africa. Sure you know.
I agree it is not.
So why are you calling that league? That means that league doesn't help it doesn't support your point. If you agree that it's not ranked top 10 in Africa.
Because it's not ranked top 10 in Africa, now means you shouldn't play in it.
Where their leagues are ranked in that top 10, there is something that is
if you are good enough,
if
the player you are mentioning is good enough, let him attract.
That's what I'm saying now. That's what I'm saying.
And if it's not good,
no, like you are
even if it's not,
you are indirectly supporting my points because you are saying if the player is good enough. I'm saying
I'm talking about average.
What if he's not good enough?
Why would an average player even make the squad?
MPFL, I have something to say concerning the MPFL. The MPFL, yes, it was bad before, but let me not lie. In the last 3 years,
it's been good, man.
It has been good.
Been good.
Yes.
In the last 3 years.
Okay, listen.
In what way?
You know, wait. Okay,
see what Rangers are doing.
Wait.
That is one club.
Even Lagos.
Yes.
Wait.
Are you talking about what the
name?
Wait, you mentioned one.
Yes.
Are you talking about what the clubs are doing separately? Or what the league is doing as a collective?
What the clubs?
Okay, wait. You mentioned something. Wait.
Okay. I just want to be sure.
Listen.
What you're trying to say.
You mentioned
because if it's what the league is doing as a collective, they are not doing anything.
No. You mentioned something about the league is not top 10 in Africa. You've
not built your brand enough to the point where you can attract sponsors that will give you serious money for winning the trophy. The prize money is still 200 million naira. What's that?
Okay, listen. You mentioned that the MPFL is out of the top 10 in Africa.
Ramos has a loan. We sell a player for $200,000. That's already more than that prize money. So what are you telling me? You are, so if you are saying that's why I needed you to be sure to be specific, and you specify that is based on the club thing, not as a collective.
But what the clubs,
as a collective, the league,
I want to counter something.
Nothing's going on that is making me look at this league.
Okay,
and
listen.
saying,
DA, you said something, yeah?
Yeah.
That the Nigeria Premier Football League is not in the top 10 in Africa. It is not because of organization. It is because of coefficient rankings.
Okay.
And
so why don't we have that coefficient?
Is it the league that is supposed?
It's not. You said what? It's not because of the organization.
Yes, it is the clubs that are not representing us well on the continent.
Why are the clubs not representing us well on the continent?
Is it the league's duty? Okay. So are you saying? Well, listen. Are
so
you saying? Wait. Listen. So are you saying if we're going to compare the Scottish Premiership, are we saying it is the SPFL that is responsible for how woeful Celtic perform on the continent?
There are two ways for me to rank it. This is how I want to answer your question. There are two ways for me to rank a league. Number one, the organization. Number two, the performance of the clubs in maybe continental competitions. Now, on those two sides, we fail woefully. So what are we talking about?
So you that means
there's nowhere we are achieving anything.
That you don't have to.
So how can the league not take it?
You don't heap the whole blame on the organizers of the league. The organizers of the league have faults. Of course, they're not perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a work in progress. Yeah.
So why did it take so long to admit that the organizer? Because
under Elegbele,
it's a work in progress.
See, there was a time they didn't have money for prize winner. But
now,
is that
even something?
It's a work. See, that's what I'm saying.
Which is
in the last 3 years since IMC took over.
People forget that this is Nigeria. This is in Africa.
I can tell you for a fact.
In Africa, we have a huge brand. Nigerian football is a big brand.
Let's not talk about
Nigerian football is a big brand. We should not be.
If we start talking about the MPFL here,
we should not be.
We are going to list.
We should not be giving grace for failure.
A lot of problems.
Nigerian football is a big brand. If we do the basic minimum, the football will sell itself. You attract
If
sponsors.
we-
You'll be giving 1 billion for prize money to win because sponsors will bring money. How many? If you are a Dangote, will you carry your money and invest in MPFL? Honest opinion.
I to yourself, Afulanyo,
You will
aka
invest your
Dangote,
money.
I will invest my money in the MPF.
I don't know. Don't worry. I know you're lying, but don't worry.
Lying? No.
Don't worry.
Let's
You
not-
invest your money.
let's
You're
not-
saying it. You're not
let's
saying it
not-
from a business perspective because every businessman would invest money in where he will get returns.
Of course.
You're saying it because you just like the league,
I
not
can-
because you think you will get money from that investment. But
The
anyway,
MPFL is profitable.
to be honest, why the
if
why
it's very
I feel-
profitable, why are sponsors not
why-
coming on board?
why
How
I
many
feel-
sponsors do they?
Yeah.
How many sponsors can you
Yeah.
count with your
Yeah.
fingers that
Yeah.
that MPFL has as of today?
DA,
As of today, how many?
DA,
Start times.
And
DA.
GTI.
sometimes in media, or not. Sometimes it's broadcast partner.
No, they
not-
have, but they are still dropping money now.
I'm not saying no. They are dropping money for TV, right? I'm talking of sponsors like maybe
headline sponsor.
DA.
sponsors that are not like a DSTV, for example, that are not broadcasting your content. Sponsors that are strictly outside of broadcast or TV. How many?
We used to have one brewery company.
Used to, not
Last,
currently.
as of last season, we used to have
See,
a brewery company.
Currently,
Let's chill
Currently.
about let's chill about the MPFL because why I feel Daniel is this vocal about it is I just want to call it patriotism, where he feels that the league can do
it's not patriotism.
more.
oh.
Let's go on
It's
to
just me wanting. Yeah, the league can do more. That's just it.
let's go to we've talked about transitioning to the Super Eagles. Now we are close to qualifying to the World Cup and also close.
Close?
To
Are we close?
We are close to qualifying.
We are far
and-
away. We're not close.
Okay. We are close to qualifying.
We are fifth or
And-
fourth in a group that has Lesotho, Rwanda, Zimbabwe,
and not
South
qualifying
Africa.
for the
How are
World
we
Cup.
close?
We're not fifth.
We are fourth or fifth. Or where are we? Fourth. We are fourth.
So
Where are we now?
so
We're in a group in Lesotho and he said we are close. How are we close? We are
I
praying
feel-
that
Okay,
FIFA
so
will-
if-
we are praying that FIFA will subtract 3 points from South Africa to go to Lesotho so that it will help our case. Meanwhile, we still have to win our last remaining games to even have a chance. And as it is now, safe.
do you think we can still qualify?
No. The
No.
only
Let's
place
just
we
leave it
can
at that.
see, the only thing we can that give us a chance is that playoff. And let me now bust your head now. That playoff spot, if you check all the other qualifying groups, that second place that we want to use to get to playoff, they are already like the second place teams in some of the other groups already have above 12 points.
League has not
Like
finished.
the difference.
League has not
Wait
finished.
now, the difference between the points that those teams are already in second place have and our own points is significantly.
It's not that much.
So
It's not that much.
So you don't think we can qualify?
I think we can, but we cannot get the automatic slot.
We
That's
have
the thing.
we have 7 points.
Of
you
course,
think
there's
we
still a
can
chance.
qualify?
As
Yeah,
long
we-
as
mathematically, we are safe.
mathematically, yes. But I'm saying we can't
Mathematically,
get
we
that
can.
automatic slot.
Do you think we can still qualify?
Mathematically,
Thank you. At least we both agree on that.
mathematically, we as long as there's
as long
life,
as yes, there's hope.
mathematically.
Now,
we
when
can
you
still
don't
get-
inside problem, you're going to talk all those kinds of
Let's
things.
let's
See,
not
yeah.
let's not
And don't forget that playoff spot is not you play with four
It's like
other
a
teams to
tournament.
get one spot.
Yes.
That means you play a mini tournament where you play a semi-final and then a final.
And you still go
So
and
that means we
play-
still have to win 2 extra games.
let's not I
So
don't
we
want
are
to be
far from. We are not
pessimistic
close
because-
to qualifying. We are far.
because I'm a Nigerian and I want to be at the World Cup. So
Of course, we all want to be,
I'm
but
very
we have to tell
optimistic.
ourselves the truth as well.
So enough of the Super Eagles and the men's team. Let's talk about the women's team. Who
Oh my God!
the team I feel
I wish we don't have to go
Um,
into this, but
Mission X.
I want to use the word neglected.
not just neglected.
It might be the wrong
Exiled.
word,
That's the word.
but
Exiled.
I feel this team has
Neglected is you
suffered
putting it
No,
like
no, no,
a
no, no.
lot.
The-
they've been exiled. They've been banished.
no, no,
into-
no. That's
They've been
exile
banished
is
into-
it's too far.
Exile.
So we saw a video
Oh my God.
some time ago where the girls spoke out on some things, about some things that happened in camp, which we've been hearing rumors about, but obviously in athletes and players camps you hear rumors, but you're not there, so you cannot even say it is true or false. But these girls have come out where they said that they were made to wash their clothes with their hands, repeating jerseys, all of that. And if we can remember, during the World Cup, the female World Cup, where they spoke about their wages, where
Yes.
FIFA had to pay them directly.
Every player directly to their bank
So-
accounts.
With all these issues are happening to the Falcons. Now, the WAFCON is coming up, and to the best of my knowledge, the Super Falcons have little or no preparation.
They are playing Cameroon.
Before
in
the
Ogun State.
Cameroon, what happened in the last
Little-
You
international
don't that
break?
see
preparation.
that
So,
one don't go.
It has not that
see,
one don't go. Which
it don't
this,
go,
this
yes.
is the problem. This is the problem we have. That one don't go. When it was
See
when it was
somebody
there.
has made
Again, I said
No.
this thing before we started shooting. We could have played Benin. Benin, you don't know their women's team because they don't really play. But even if he's playing Remo Stars women's team, play something.
that's never possible, man.
That's never possible.
So-
So is it so you're saying
But we must give
nothing is better than half bread. That's what you're
They
telling
know
me.
how to transition from the
Of
younger
course,
team
to the senior team.
They know how to do that. So
I think for Super Falcons
know
that
how
is
to
because
do it
that is
so well.
that is partly because there's not a wide
Pool of talent.
talent pool, so they have no choice.
No, not because they have no choice.
Like I think that's why I said partly the reason because there's not compared to the men's game,
yeah.
the talent pool for women's football is not as wide in Nigeria. So it's just easy if you already have that's why you have there's a player currently playing in Super Falcons. I think her name is Deme Tosin or
Tosin.
something. She played in
Under 17,
under
Yeah,
under
17.
20.
she was the captain for
Yes,
one of the
on end of them.
Then obviously Oshuala as well, came to the
Ajibade,
ranks.
Chiamaka, now
Chiamaka as well. So
But why is this team suffering so much? Because I feel they brought us a lot of joy than the Super Eagles.
I beg to differ.
I think you already know what I'll say, so I'll just allow you to speak.
To some extent.
Because I want to hear something different, I'll allow you to
To some
speak.
extent, for what this team has gone through, they've done a lot.
They've overachieved.
So
They've
yes.
overachieved.
So I'm asking, why is this team suffering? Because for the girls to come out to say that, I feel it was bottled up for a long time, and
Of course.
they just had to talk. And to be honest, the selected few that spoke, I was like, these guys. that
They will
spoke-
catch smoke for it later.
No. I don't think people that spoke.
They've
will
been
catch
invited.
smoke. Yes, they were invited to
They
speak.
were invited. This is a friendly. We'll see when the main
So-
tournament comes around.
So for them to speak up, for someone like Alozie that is used to a much more organized system
Yeah.
to come in to see something like that. So imagine what the Falconets face if the Super Falcons,
the
can
ones
face
that
this.
at least have a voice to an
Yes.
extent.
So imagine what the
These Falconers are
face.
helpless. They are just starting their own careers.
Imagine what the
or the Flamingos.
imagine what the female academies face. Like, I don't know, but all these things affect the development of our football in general.
So I quite understand what you're driving at. In as much as we see that, okay, the attention towards women's football is not as much as the men. Of recent, or let me say under the Ibrahim Gusso administration,
Yeah.
things have been quite different.
I
The
agree. I
NWFL
agree.
has improved.
Yes,
Look at
I
the
agree.
Super 6 tournament.
I agree.
And based on what I know, of course, the administration might not be 100% perfect, but in back in the day, they probably used to hold them.
Yeah.
But if you're asking
They
the
are
Super
not being
Falcons
owed,
player
yes,
now,
they are
they are
not
not
being
being
owed
owed.
now.
They are not being owed at all. Bonus, match this, match that.
Can you guarantee this that they are not being owed?
Yes, I can guarantee you that they are not being
How
owed.
can you guarantee? this?
100%.
How can you?
I don't think the Falcons have
One,
been-
I can see if I
Because
had
How
extra
can you
zero in my hand,
guarantee?
They would have spoken about it.
they would have spoken about it. Yeah.
No.
The only thing,
They would have spoken about
the only
it.
thing, the
It is
documentary.
a common thing.
No.
Everybody
No.
knows
No,
that
no.
Everybody that plays for national teams have either
DA.
been old or are currently being old.
DA. I can
Gernot
tell you.
Raw, former Super Eagles manager, came
I
out
can
to say
tell
he
you
was being owed
categorically,
7
see, with
months.
evidence.
Randy Waldrums, former Super Falcons coach,
As it
came out
stands,
just before
I
the
said-
as
World
it stands.
I
the
said as
Super
it stands,
Falcons
they are not
Cup.
being
What
old.
is the evidence? Tell me.
Let
You are
them
just
come- they are
it's
not
not.
being
It's just
old.
word of mouth you're giving me.
Of
now.
course, but I don't have my phone here or anything, and I can tell
So
you.
if you had your
I have
phone
a
here,
question. No,
what were you
I
going
have
to
a
show me
question.
to prove to
How-
me that they are
how
not
do
being
you-
old?
They're not being old, man.
Match
Wait,
bonuses.
how did you know that Gernot Rowe was being owed?
He mentioned it. He talked about
Yes.
it.
Now, the same way.
Let them come out and say it.
Thank you. It's that simple.
I understand.
So it is until we hear.
So
That's
how-
when
yes, how do you know somebody is
So
not
you
old?
how do you know that they are not being?
I was told by
You
a
were told.
reliable source.
You were
they,
told.
They are not old.
I
Did
have
you
a
see?
question.
Did you
I
see
have
the
a
receipt of
question.
money going to their account?
Do I need to ask?
I have
So
a
you
question.
believe
Wait.
based on you were told, but me I
person
cannot
that is
believe
saying the
based on what I want to believe on.
Because
Is Osimhen being owed salary in Turkey?
Super in
No,
Turkey.
is he being
You
owed?
cannot ask me that question because everybody knows that nobody will owe you salary in a league like Turkey.
Who
In
said
a
it?
top league like
Are you
Turkey.
wanting
Who
me?
said it?
Oh no, man.
Our own
Nah,
Onazi.
Do you know how many
was
players are being owed salary?
Now I know what you guys are
45,000.
trying to do, and I'm not going to play into it.
Do you know how many
because
players are being owed salary?
everybody knows that in the top
In
league,
Israel, do you know how many people they are owed salary?
no, we are talking about what you guys are trying to talk about now. Might be contractual disputes. We're talking about what is stated as your weekly wages.
The Super
Yeah, they
Falcons-
And
owe.
what is stated
They owe
in-
people.
and in the
Yes,
context
they
of
owe
the Super
people.
Falcons now, what is stated
The
as their
Super
match
Falcons
bonuses.
are not being owed.
They are not being owed, I can tell you.
The Super Falcons are not being owed.
So
At
basically,
least that's an improvement.
Of course, you're talking about the fact that they didn't play friendly since
Don't worry,
November last
WAFCON
year.
will come. It seems like these stories always break out just before the tournament starts.
I know.
WAFCON will come.
My story is legit.
WAFCON will
See,
come.
it legit
We will
pass.
see.
Legit
We will
pass
see.
anything.
They are not being owed.
This
I'm
is the
sure.
same team that almost what's the word now? There's a word I'm looking
Defeated
for.
England or what?
No. When you try to skip a match, there's a word I'm looking for.
Walkover.
No, not walkover, something similar. They almost refused to play against Canada, basically. Their Women's World Cup opener in 2023.
Yeah.
Because of match bonuses being owed.
That was.
And FIFA had to
That was
step
then.
in.
That was then.
That
now.
was then. So you think that the same NFF that
can
owed them
change now.
up to multiple months salary
So are you
before a
saying-
major tournament?
Wait.
Do you know how many things you can use to motivate these girls apart from match bonuses that will help them play
Daniel.
good? That you can do, yeah? You don't do all
federation-
those things.
I give up.
And
The
then you refuse to
federation-
do all those things to
the
the point
federation
where you don't
has-
even do
The
little
federation
things as
has
little
its
as
flaws, but we have to call them out for. Sorry, we have
Praise
to
them
praise
for this
them
one.
for the ones that they
praise them for what? For doing what they're supposed
No,
to do.
it's how many
No.
administrations
What
have
do
you
you think we're
seen?
supposed to praise
How
them
many
for?
administrations have you seen that have paid?
Eh?
Like, I mean, that don't have debt on ground. How
Eh?
many administrations?
Eh?
How many administrations
That don't have depth.
on ground?
As long as debt are as long as the one that Nigeria owes all their players.
Yes. This current administration.
You're telling me that so many other administrations in the world
I'm
owe
talking
their
about
player, owe their national
when
team
I
players
say listen, when I say
up to 6-7 months.
Oh, listen, when I say administration, I did not say in another climate. I'm talking about in Nigeria right now. Like
I
we
don't
used to have
understand. We're supposed to compare with other
listen
countries.
now, presidency rotation and everything. Like I'm talking about in this man's administration, his tenure. Ibrahim Gusso, yeah. He's the current Wafu B president now. It shows that yes, this man has influence and he's doing well. They are not owing the Super Falcons a dime, one kobo, they.
I'm not going to engage this conversation further. I think you people
Let me-
are being dishonest right now.
Let me.
And I'm not
let
going
me-
to engage
let
this
me-
conversation. I think we should
let
move on
me-
to something else.
Let me add something.
If you can
there-
boldly tell me without
there-
any evidence that the
there was
Super
a
Falcons are not
documentary.
being owed, then I'll leave it at that.
There was a documentary on Netflix about the Spanish female national team, the whole key
Rubiales.
situation, Rubiales,
Hermoso.
Putellas, Bomati, Hermoso, and some players. They wanted a change in the female national team, so they were always entering. They said the male team had a lot of privilege. The only gym that was
Available.
in the place was used by the male team. Now, so even if the male team they were not around, they could not still use the
No,
gym.
yeah.
Then their flights to others, they were going on charter flights. Why them? They were just going on.
So let me
normal
say
flights. Wait,
something about
wait.
that. There is a natural disparity
Yes,
in men and women's football, and then there's what goes on with the Super Falcons.
True.
It's two entirely
Wait.
different universes.
I'm trying.
It's
to
not
say
even
something.
close.
Now
There
they
is
made
the
those
issue of
companies-
equal pay,
Wait.
and then there is what goes on with the Super Falcons.
Wait now.
It is not even the same.
Daniel,
Like
Daniel,
the little pay you're supposed to
Daniel,
give them as match
Daniel.
bonuses, they're not even getting it.
Daniel, I've not
Super
even
Eagles
planned
can say, okay, oh, we're being owed, but it doesn't mean anything to us because we collect £20,000, £50,000, £70,000. So whatever $1,000 or $10,000 match winning bonus you want to give us, okay, we can ignore it. But this money means so much more to the Super Falcons, who earn much less. So even if their match winning bonus is $1,000, it is significant money to them. Because what do they earn in comparison to what the Super Eagles earn? So
Daniel,
how will you owe
Daniel.
these people that money and still tell me that
Daniel,
we should give them props
Wait.
for when they do something right?
See
What
my
do
point.
they actually get right?
See my point. They made all those statements, everything. Rubiales left. Yes, Rubiales, the last straw that broke the camel's back was that kiss
The
saga.
kissing, yeah.
Yes. So Rubiales left and everything has changed now. My point I'm driving at is bringing it down to home. Gusau came in and we've seen some development.
Of course.
I'm not saying Hermoso or what's her name?
Putellas.
Putellas cannot start saying that why are we praising them for paying us or for giving us our own gym or for chartering flights for us that they're supposed to do it. Yes, they are supposed to do it. But judging from when you're coming from,
You need to
these
look at it
guys
that this is a
changed
very
it.
big development.
It's a development.
So we are giving them props because it was worse before they came, and not because
Oh
they
my.
did what they are supposed to do. We are giving them props because it was worse, and just because they made it better.
Oh my.
I feel
By doing the job they're supposed to do, we should give them props, not because they did something spectacular, just because they made
So,
it better.
you're
That's
you
why
know,
we should give them props.
say Yoruba will
No,
say,
no,
Yoruba will say,
I think we've agreed
"Kushe
on that.
lo
Can we
mu
move on to
oriya."
something else? Can we move
I
on to
feel-
something else?
I f-
We,
I
we should
feel-
we should talk about the women's AFCON, like the tournament itself, because I think I don't want to engage this. I think
I
that
feel
there's some dishonesty in this room right now.
we came here
And
to
I don't
talk
want to
about
engage.
the development of Nigerian football, and we've agreed on one thing: we need to do much better.
But we're doing better.
But we are doing well. But we, need
are
to do
not
much
doing well.
better.
We are
Because
definitely
two, you know
not
what?
doing
2
well.
over 1. Abi,
No, this is not democracy.
We need
This
to
is a dictatorship.
we need to do
I do
much
not give a
better.
damn about what
And-
you guys are saying,
And
because you
obviously,
are
Daniel
clearly
is talking
not
from,
saying the truth.
Daniel is
There's
talking
an
from a
interest
very-
with Daniel.
Yes.
Can we make a bet on record now that if we hear that before the women's AFCON starts, we'll revisit this topic. If we hear that the Super Falcons are being old, if we hear that anybody say, whether it's the coach or whether it's the physios,
Wait.
can we agree that
will
we'll
a
revisit
dispute
this
come
topic?
up
And you
before
guys will
the
admit
the WAFCON?
that you that
Will
that
the
you were,
dispute come up before the WAFCON?
it will definitely come up. Me, I'm sure of it. Because
Daniel-
that's what happens with women's
Yes,
teams.
here's where we
I am
come
sure
to
of
the
it.
end of this episode.
Can we talk about the women's AFCON, the tournament itself, the expectations?
We
Can we
don't
talk
have
about
enough
other
time for
things?
that. We don't have enough time.
Let me
for
ask
that,
him. Wait, let me ask him. Let me ask him what you think about yes. The
Okay,
WAFCON, what
of
you
course,
think.
we're going to make the semi-finals.
Obviously, we
and
should.
we're going for 10th. That's why we call it Mission X.
On that one, I agree with you guys.
I
We need
believe
to-
we'll win.
Yes, we're winning. Mission X, we're going to win it at
we
10th.
will.
Okay, so for
AFCON
me,
title.
I'm very concerned because I think that the Super Falcons are by far or have been by far the best team in Africa. That's why they are 9-time champions. However, I think that the way that the other teams in Africa, that South Africa especially, are catching up to us is accelerated by the fact that this team, the talent of this team, can no longer sustain them if they don't have
A good
things to
backroom
support.
staff and all of that.
Because usually what we used to ride on in the women's AFCON before was we are
Talent.
better than every
Yeah.
other women's. And
Yeah.
and that's, I think, one thing that surprisingly Nigeria has gotten right. I'm even surprised that our women's football is this, established. I'm genuinely surprised, even though there's still a lot of things to be improved on. I'm surprised that we are 9-time champions, But my concern, obviously, we get semi-final expectation, final even to win. I mean,
No,
We
go
should
to
be
every-
winning this.
The objective is to win because that's our standard, that's our level. But I'm concerned, especially the last AFCON, we made it to the
Semi-finals.
semi-final, and
Semi-finals.
maybe without the 2 red cards in that game, we
would have
could have
gone to
beaten
the
France.
final,
We were
yeah.
very
Gone to the
dodged in
final,
that game. But I feel like since or maybe since the World Cup, and I think after the World Cup, I was expecting similar performance in the World Cup to the Olympics. So I think that team is on a little downward slope. I'm not sure how much, but I'm not sure that team is on an upward trajectory. I think that team, but maybe they will prove me wrong in these women's AFCON.
So
But
I can tell they've transitioned.
I do not expect them to win. Let me just say this now.
Daniel
of course-
does not expect Super Falcons.
Yes,
to
on
win.
record, though,
Me,
I don't expect Super Falcons to win. But let me just say it now, yeah. I
if
think
they
that
win, don't praise them.
Why
Don't,
would I praise
don't
them?
celebrate.
Before we started
See,
this,
by August,
why would I? Let
by
me tell you. Let me
August, don't
tell you
celebrate.
something. Before we started this episode, do you remember me saying that I'm the biggest supporter of the Super Falcons?
So why are you not?
And the
you
reason
should
why,
be
wait,
tipping
no,
them
wait.
to win.
Okay, maybe it was not you I told. The reason why I say this is because the Super Falcons are. I think Super Eagles have already been disappointed by them so many times. The Super
So
Falcons,
getting to the
I
final
said-
of the AFCON is a disappointment.
Wait. I'm not talking about the AFCON specifically. I'm just saying generally. I'm saying that the reason why I am a big supporter of Super Falcons and Nigeria women's national team in general is because whatever problems the Super Eagles face, they face it times 10. The Super Falcons. And that's on record. And the things that the Super Eagles can ignore, it is much
The
more
girls cannot
significant to the
ignore.
Super
Yeah,
Falcons.
the
It
girls cannot
affects their
ignore.
own performances the more. So when this team wins, when they go to AFCON and they win, they are overachieving. Yes, they are talented. Yes, they are better than, but they are overachieving because there's so many odds stacked against them. And that's why these people won I think in 2016, they won the AFCON. And they
2018
came
sef.
back and they staged a strike in their hotel. I think they were supposed to go to the villa,
Yeah.
presidential villa. And they staged a strike in their hotel saying that they won't come out with the trophy because they are being owed match bonuses. So definitely, you know that they went to that tournament being owed and they won that tournament being
To
owed.
be very
So
fair.
let me just give my
I
round
wish-
up. You're right. I'm not expecting them to win, but I think obviously our talents will take us far, even with the numerous problems we have. But if we encounter South Africa at any point in that tournament, we are going up. End of.
I do not believe so.
Well,
South Africa right now is the best women's team on this continent.
Na lie.
Okay.
Na lie.
I wish we had enough time to keep speaking, because obviously this issue is something that touches our hearts. We love football. We love our country excelling in football. But Daniel doesn't
These
even want to
these
hear
guys don't want to be honest.
anything.
That's my
So-
problem with them. They don't want to be honest.
On this note, we've come to
They are
the end
seeing white and they are calling it black.
we've come to the end of another amazing episode of the Build Up Podcast. Always remember to watch on YouTube, like, subscribe, listen on all listening platforms, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. Support the Build Up Podcast. Keep watching. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Bye.